that is almost 25 times more.
They also have tool to do, if they have to scan a resume, they can scan through an ATS.
Only thing I say is they're out of date now. I am still Indian at heart.
Why did they do this?
In 1995, well under 10,000 visas are issued to Indian students.
You don't know, and once you're upskilling yourself more and more.
Recruiter is reviewing your resume. They don't want to put all their eggs in one basket. That is 73% of H-1B. The job search process changed for good. Hello all, welcome back to Job Talks with Jag. Shimpal and I are going to discuss a lot of topics today, starting with the current affairs. Many people might have heard about the $100,000 fee imposed by US administration on H-1B. We are going to talk about it in detail, and then we are going to jump how the job search process changed for good in the AI era, especially from the perspective of recruiter screening your resume. So does 6-second rule still apply? We are going to talk about it in detail too. Then we have a few questions from Kudos Walls users we received. We are going to answer some of the questions we received.
Hi, this is Shimpal, and I'm very excited to join Job Talks with Jag again. And today, as you all know, we will be addressing questions on H-1B visa fee and also about the recruiter screening. So let's start, Jag.
So first thing is the 100,000 fee that US administration imposed on H-1B. So to give a perspective, so why it became a shocker? Number one, it used to be somewhere between $1,700 and $4,500. So that is about 2 lakhs and maybe 4 lakhs. So now all of a sudden it bumped to $100,000. That is almost 25 times more. So that came as a shocker because no one was expecting. So first thing I want to clear is it only applies for the new applications. Initially there was no clarity, but now we are pretty much clear that this fees is only applicable when you are applying for a new H-1B. If you are already on H-1B, you do not have to worry about it. You can rest easy. Number two, what are the implications of this? Number one, it will be very, very difficult for US companies to bear $100,000 per employee, even if it is one-time fee, because it adds a lot of risk to them. Let's say a company pays $100,000 for getting one employee. In US, you cannot keep one tied to the job. After 6 months or 1 year, they switch job, this $100,000 is gone for them. That is a risk for employee. It also adds an advantage for other employees. They will not have to pay this $100,000. They can hire right away. Number two, what happens for the Indian companies? Initially, we may see some uptick in outsourcing, even though US administration is threatening US companies to not hire or not replace US worker with an outsourced employee. They are also trying to introduce a bill in US Congress, that is like Parliament here. So there are a lot of things that we don't know, but what can you do now? That is the question that we all have. If you are applying for H-1B, you do not have to worry. If somebody really selected you, that means you are already valuable and they will pay that 100,000 and they will get you to the USA. So you don't have to worry. So if you are coming on F1 visa, things are still fine. You can come on F1, but my advice is only come if you get admission to a good university. That was true then, that is true now. But let me give a perspective on what happened in last 30 years. In 1995, well under 10,000 visas, that is F1 visas, are issued to Indian students to come here. Come 2024, 2023, so it grew to 130,000 visas. Now currently 330,000 Indian students are enrolled in US universities. So imagine how much the student population has grown in last 30 years. So that is putting a burden on US systems. So and also to give another perspective on H-1B. So H-1B is relatively new. Until 1990, there was no H-1B program. There were other programs similar to it, but there were not many number of visas. Initially, it was 60,000. When the demand was high in the early 2000, just around the dot-com bust, the number also increased to 120,000. That is 1,20,000 visas. Then they reduced it to 60,000. Now it is about 85,000, 70,000 H1s and 15,000 for the people who do MS here, masters or some other kind of education here. Those 15,000 are reserved for the students who come here. So a long story short, so if you are willing to come on H-1B, some company already chose you that you are valuable for them and they want to bring you to USA, you do not have to worry about it because company is going to bear that fees. But the chances of that are a lot less now. What can you do in this situation? I am sure India will open up. India has a lot of unicorns now. The startup culture could grow more in India. I am very optimistic about India and India's growth. So you will find better opportunities in India if you stick there. But if you choose to go to other countries for whatever the reason, the Canada immigration is possible, Germany is possible, Australia is still possible. So all these countries are in play. They did not close the doors, or they rather are welcoming immigrants as of today. Then if you want to come on student visa, I cannot stress enough that you need to get admission to a good university. Lately, what is happening is to meet the demand of Indian students. As I gave the statistics, imagine well under 10,000 visas, and now the current student population is around 330,000. So how many number of students are more coming? So many colleges that are subpar became universities. You may not have a lot of opportunities after you finish from these colleges. So if you are a bright student going to a great school, you will be still valued. And if as a person who has been living in USA for a long time, I can say that whether it is this administration or administration coming or before, it is very, very difficult for US to lose talent because United States is built on immigration. If you take the example of Elon Musk, he is an immigrant himself. He immigrated from South Africa. You will find many, many examples, right? Not just Sundar Pichai, Satya Nadella. There will be a lot of entrepreneurs, even Perplexity, for example. So Perplexity CEO is still Indian. So this is the scenario.
Jag, I have a curiosity question. Why did they do this? Like, why did they make this big charge for H-1B visa?
While we never can know, but from the surface, what US Commerce Secretary Lutnick said is many companies are abusing this H-1B. H-1B is mainly utilized by Indians. About 73% of H-1B visas issued are to Indians. Number one, Robert Lutnick, Commerce Secretary of United States, says that it is to make difficult for US companies to replace a US worker. The intention of H-1B program is to get a foreign worker when there is no talent available in the United States. Historically, it's been abused by almost everyone. Major companies do it for cheap labor. Recruiters use it to their advantage to pay employee less and keep their cut. So 73% from a particular country can be a national security to USA also. Because what happens tomorrow if India says, okay, nobody should be working in United States for whatever the reason, right? So in US is highly dependent on India workforce. That is number one. Number two, people say that it could be a ploy in trade negotiations that are going on between India and USA. Number three is very political because current administration base do not like immigrants. So any action that seems to be taken against immigration or immigrants is going to play well for them. So these are the main reasons. Initially, when Commerce Secretary Robert Lutnick gave the press conference, whatever he said came out false. In the sense, initially they said every year one has to pay as long as an employee is hired by company has to pay $100,000 every year. Later they clarified that no, it is only one-time fee. Initially they said every time you renew or re-enter United States, you have to pay this $100,000. Later they said no, it is only one-time fee. So they were not even clear. So that makes me wonder why they did it in such a fashion. It looks like very unprepared. So that makes me think that it could be related to trade talks. The current status of the relationship between United States and India does not look very good. But to give the context, before 1991-92 liberalization, it was worse because India always sided with the USSR, that is Russia's previous version. So even then, many people from India came to United States and flourished. You may take Vinod Khosla, even Satya Nadella and all, they came in 1990s. Relationship between countries does not matter. If United States need talent, tomorrow they are going to introduce a different bill and they are going to get talent from, not just from India, anywhere from the world. So to recap one thing, again, this is my personal view. They don't want to put all their eggs in one basket. That is 73% of H-1B. Seems little risky for US workforce. Number two, most likely it may be related to trade negotiations going on between India and USA. Number three, they want to appease their political base, the current administration. It is an anti-immigration stance, conveying a message that, hey, we are helping you to keep your job to their base, right? We only can work with what we have. H-1B fees is not the end of the world. As I said, if you are looking for opportunities elsewhere, Canada issues about 450,000 permanent resident cards every year. See if it is a possibility for you. Canada is a great country. I would say for anyone in the world, their homeland is the best for them. Whether you are in Afghanistan or in India or USA, wherever they are, your homeland is the best one for you because of the relationships, because of the family and all. That's what I mean to say. Even the otherwise situation is not great. But if one chooses a home away from their homeland, that is USA. So I still bet on USA because freedom that you can have here, the way that your talent is valued, or rather your talent can be found by someone and you may not even know that you have the talent. People are going to spot the talent and use to their advantage, and of course you will benefit from that. At the same time, it is cutthroat also. It is completely capitalistic country. So once we do not have any skills, so they are not going to bet on a lame horse or blind horse.
As we all know that AI is changing everything. Now in this AI era, what do you think will resume screening looks like?
So resume screening always depends upon the times that we are in. There was a study in 2012 done by the Ladders. The Ladders, if you don't know, that is a company which has a site for finding a high paying job, that is 100,000 or more. So that's a great site. So they did a study in 2012 about how recruiters scan a resume. That is an eye tracker study. In that study in 2012, they found that on average a recruiter spends 6 seconds reviewing a resume. So now you have to understand what 2012 looked like. 2012, even though it is only 13 years ago, there was, 2012, the SaaS was not popular. Software as service was not popular. In 2012, most popular ATS systems were Taleo, that was bought by Oracle, and Workday, founded by someone who left Oracle. These ATS were part of a huge ERP system. That means only big companies could afford an applicant tracking system. If you are a small company or medium company, recruiters will get either in Word, PDF resumes were also less at that time. Most of the time they get in the Word format. So a recruiter has to review each resume. When they have to review each resume, they first thing, what do you do? If you have 100 resumes in front of you, what would you do? You would not be able to go through each one in detail because it takes at least few minutes. So they scan it top to, left to right, top to bottom. If they like it, they put on one side. If they don't, they throw it, right? Feedback, that's why feedback was almost non-existent. If you submit a resume and if they did not like it, you would not hear back from them because there were no systems implemented at that time. So then Ladders found that, okay, they spend 6 seconds. So you have to make your resume appealing to a recruiter. In the first 6 seconds, they scan your resume. If they like it, they are going to spend more time. That did not change much from then to now, but liking part had changed. Then the same company, the Ladders, did another study in 2018. This time they revised it from 6 second rule to 7.4 seconds. So at the same time, some company in UK did a study. They found it to be 3 minutes plus. These all are valid studies. Only thing I say is they're out of date now. You may ask me, why am I saying it? The technology, as I said, in 2012 was only in the hands of Fortune 500. Anyone who could only afford an ERP which could cost more than 100,000 a year, so could only afford this kind of screening. Even uploading was very difficult. Parsing of resume is still a difficult thing, but AI made it easy. Now, in 2018, the SaaS companies sprouted already. If you see greenhouse.io started around that time, and even those fees are more than tens of thousands. Not 100,000. It has come down, but it is still above what a startup would pay or a freelance recruiter can afford. $10,000 for a startup is huge amount. We discussed even in our previous podcast, if you watched it, many companies do not even have proper HR. For example, Kudoswal does not have HR department because we do not need it as of now. We are still in growing phase and every hire needs to be scrutinized by the corresponding people. So, but even for a small company or a big company or a freelancer, AI changed everything. Let's say a recruiter posts a job on LinkedIn or Naukri, anywhere. For one of our customers, so says as soon as he puts an advertisement on LinkedIn, in the first hour, he gets 200 resumes. So 200 resumes, how are they going to screen? Now what do? They use a tool, they use our tool, but there are many tools like Gemini, ChatGPT and others, right? Our tool, we call it High Talent, which we say it screens resumes 50x faster, which is true. We did our own study. But if you cannot afford even $20 or $100, our price point or tools like ours, a recruiter could use a Gemini or ChatGPT to screen 20 resumes and they will get top 5. Some ATS are using AI also, but ATS did not mean AI either. So people used to use tricks like stuffing
white text stuffing also they used to do, right?
White text stuffing and all. Shimpal made a video on it. So people stuff the keywords either visible or invisible. So in the so people found it, so it passes ATS. Of course, ATS also improves, like police and thief. So it always improves, but AI has changed everything. AI is much more advanced. AI just does not look for keywords. Keywords is good. It can also go beyond a bit, but it does not mean that it takes away the human aspect from the screening of resume. So 6 seconds rule we have talked about, 7.4 rule, second rule we talked about. Now in AI, it does not even matter. Recruiter is not going to look at your resume at all. Previously, Fortune 500 was not looking at your resume. Now, even a freelance recruiter is not going to look at your resume. Why? Because they are going to feed to a system or a tool like ChatGPT and Gemini, and they are going to say, okay, give me 5 resumes or 5% of this lot that I receive, which match with the job description that I have. And on top of it, they could add prompts, how to do it. And also that's how AI has democratized the screening process. That means a freelance recruiter can do the exact same thing or better than whatever that a Fortune 500 company doing not very long ago. Now, what can you do as an applicant, right? That is the question that we have. So number one, apply carefully, right? If you do not have enough skills or there is no match or a compelling argument for the job that you are applying for, I suggest that you do not apply for that kind of a job because it affects your confidence also. Do not apply blindly. When it matches at least 50% or 60%, and when you have a compelling argument, try it. It does not guarantee an interview. But in our previous videos, we said the best way to get an interview is to submit through a referral. When you submit through a referral, for example, if Shimpal sends me a resume saying that, okay, this person I know is very capable for this role because I have seen them in my previous company, they are going to be a great addition to Kudoswal, I definitely will talk to them. So that is the power of referral, whether you do it via LinkedIn or otherwise. So this is the way to pass, where it applied in 2012, it applied in 2018, it applies now, it is going to apply in future also. But what that means you have to be doing your job very well. So people have to say great things about you. And your resume does not mean that your resume should not be updated. It should have all the keywords matching. And you have to be careful. Some company may be using different kind of language than you are using. So you have to see that job description matches. And for example, when I was applying for jobs long time ago, that was I rarely customized my resume. There was no need for it because a software engineer was software engineer. I apply because human is looking at it. As I said, 6 second rule or 7.4 seconds. If they see, okay, this is guy, this has this and this, they will invite me for an interview or phone screen. Now comes the ATS, whether it is your resume or my resume, need to have the matching keywords. So that is your first step. You have to look at each job description and see if you have matching qualifications or not, then adjust according to the keywords they are saying. Of course, only if you have such experience or qualification.
And for that, not only the recruiters has tool to do these things, even job seekers or who are applying for a job, they also have tool to do. If they have to scan a resume, they can scan through an ATS score checker and then apply those suggestions in their resume.
Nice,
There are tools
nice
for
plugin,
everything.
Shimpal. So yes, we have, Shimpal is asking me to remind you that we have tools for you to accomplish all this, right? So when you have job description, job title, so you don't even have to sign up. It is free on our site, ATS resume checker. So we are going to put all links in the description. You could use it for free and see whether your resume matches this job description or not. Do it for every job.
Yeah.
So one thing what I see is people, especially people who are less experienced, either they copy from their friend's resume or they become complacent and they stop customizing after getting one interview. So if you got one interview does not mean that you should stop customizing. I talked about in my previous video also. So you should customize for every job. So you could use tool like ours or any tool that you want. If you want to use ChatGPT or Gemini, but why spend a lot of time when there are specialized tools? So you should spend your time more in upskilling yourself or researching the company more and preparing for the interview than saving a few bucks here and there and spending a lot of time. So one should start respecting their time more than money. That is another way. I'm trying to link it to our H-1B problem here. One of the things that we are conditioned, right? Even though I have been living in USA for past 20 plus years, I am still Indian at heart, and most of my habits are just like anyone who grew up in India at the time. We always tend to give a lot more value to money than the time. Of course, money is valuable. Money is important, but we have to see what is the value that we are getting for our time. So when you start investing in your career, I'm not just talking about resumes or resume builders or things like that. Taking a certification, learning, upskilling yourself, whatever that are, buying something that is going to a book that is going to improve your soft skills. So invest your time and money, right, which is going to help you further your career. So that is the key. Investment. It is an investment. I am not asking you to splurge. I am not asking you to take each and every certification because you can. Whatever is going to help you, do that and add that to resume. If I see your growth mindset, besides your skill and expertise in particular area, I am going to respect you more because
I would say that it is not just for them who are applying for job. If they have to upskill themselves inside the job also, if they are in the job where they are settled also, it has been long, keep upskilling, keep learning new skills, invest in that also. And later when you get an opportunity, maybe the opportunity will come to you. You don't know, and once you're upskilling yourself more and more, so it can come naturally. As
that is so correct. One thing is upskilling yourself and also be an intrapreneur. So it's not entrepreneur, I'm saying intrapreneur. Intrapreneur is someone that they are going to show their innovativeness to their current establishment. Companies value you a lot for that. When you talk about your accomplishments on your resume, right? So people are going to be curious. Okay, what is the new process that you implemented? What is the new technology that you brought on board in previous company? When you express that on your resume, it is interesting to human. You passed ATS. Now recruiter is reviewing your resume. It has to generate curiosity, not just keywords, not just relevance. You are already in the top 5 or 10 that they shortlisted. But how do you stand out? How do you become a candidate that they want to talk? So if the curiosity is the main thing here, right? If you show your entrepreneurial skills, how your growth mindset helped the current company, if you express that on your resume, that is going to help you a lot. And even though we have our own AI resume builder, which does very well, I still say that AI plus you have to add your personality, character to this enhanced resume using AI. So just AI spits out a resume does not mean that you should be submitting the same resume. You have to add your personality. You have to see if you are completely satisfied, that is good. So you have to review it, or you take someone else help to review it. Whether you do it yourself or whether you took the help of a resume builder, ultimately reviewing plays a role, because if it is generating curiosity in a person who is reviewing, that means that it could also generate curiosity in the recruiter reviewing your resume. Look for curiosity factor in your resume and see how you can make them curious. So of course you add the numbers, right? For example, you create you express impact, like increased revenue by 75%, or reduce the time to test by 30%, or my automation saved so much money to the company. All these are good. They are also going to generate curiosity. In addition to that, if you also say that I was recognized as employee of the month, so add that and see why you add that too. Do not just say employee of the month. So why you were chosen as employee of the month? What was the trait that made it? So that makes them curious. So give them a teaser. Go ahead.
Or if they have done some cross-functional work, like not just stick to their own role, they did something for other roles too, and that is not specific to this role, but that shows your ability to cross-function as well. Like if you are required sometimes to do that role also, maybe that human who is reading your resume will be attracted to that and may want to talk to you.
Definitely agree. So people who work cross-functional, that means that is telling a signal to the current management, or when you are applying during the interview, that this person is capable of doing more. So these people become directors. So these people will be chosen as leaders, because if a manager manages the activities, a leader sets the direction. So when you set the direction, you have to move a lot of things in that direction. That's where your cross-functional abilities come in play. Also, doing your current job well is important before you expand into other roles. The one example I would give is, I used to have a report back when I was working for other companies, and kudos wall. So this person, after 6 months working for my team, so he came and said, hey Jag, I want to switch to, as you might know, so my specialty was automation in the quality assurance, software quality assurance. So this person was working in the quality engineering. So this person came and asked me, Jag, so I want to move to the development. I think I will do well there. Can you please write a recommendation? But that person was not doing very well as a quality engineer. So they want a transfer. It is not cross-functional, but they want to switch to a different department altogether. That is from quality to development. So I know he is capable of doing good work in quality. So, but he was not applying himself. I do not have anything to write good about that person's work at that time. So then this is what I told him. It is great that you want to move on, because if talent is within the company, that is great, right? We don't want to lose talent, but you're not doing your current job well. So I gave you feedback before. This is what you have to do to excel in your current job or do better in your current job, that you have not been doing. So once you start doing well, I myself will recommend to the other department if you still are willing to move to the development. So that is the feedback I gave. So lucky that he is a person who could understand what I was saying. So he worked hard for next 6 to 9 months, I think. So I gladly wrote him a recommendation to switch to the development. Then he did. So the key is, you have to excel well in that. You have to be recognized within that, so that you can tell all these accomplishments. This, for example, could be a story for him to talk about in interviews too. How he moved from quality engineering, how he excelled in quality engineering, and his manager recommended, upon knowing his interest, to move to the development. So that could be a good story to tell to the recruiter, because that is an obvious question. Because I was asked, I was a developer before, then I moved to quality. One of the questions I was always asked is, why did you move to quality engineering from development? So that he has an answer, right? He always wanted, then he found an opportunity, he was recommended, then he moved on. So these kind of things do play a great role in your career. So always not only doing well, putting that on your resume and letting everyone around know about your accomplishments is also important.
But that doesn't mean that people add everything in the resume. Like, it has to be crisp. Even if a human reading it, it has to be crisp. No one wants to read 3-4 pages of resume,
That is an art,
even
right?
if they
That
have
is an
time.
art.
Yeah,
Then
that
that's
art
what
is
they can use they have to, when they are applying, they have to be careful in utilizing all the tools that they have. For example, why do you want to work for a certain company can be expressed in a cover letter.
Yeah.
Because cover letter must be very, very, very specific to the company that you are applying to. So while you are right that you cannot put everything and anything, it is not even possible, then it is going to become an essay or a book than a resume. So in addition to that, you use all the tools. Tell some story in LinkedIn, because recruiters are going to look at your LinkedIn.
Yeah. Even
So
connecting with them on LinkedIn will be good. If you are
yes,
applying
yes.
somewhere and find that HR or anyone important in that company and share your views on that company through email or through the LinkedIn
Exactly.
connection, that would be a very good thing to do while you are applying for jobs. I
That,
know
that,
that
that,
job
that shows
market
that
is very
yeah,
tough.
that shows your initiative, that shows that you are willing. And also, if you show your thought leadership on certain subjects on LinkedIn, you are writing an article, you are commenting on things, that is also going to play, because people are going to look at a lot of things, not just your resume. Your resume has to make them look elsewhere. Your resume plus cover letter. Cover letter is going to, your resume is customized, right? Like Shimpal said, it has to be crisp, but also it has to generate curiosity. So that is a double-edged sword, right? You cannot have a huge resume, at the same time you have to express a lot, like I think Mark Twain said. So that means it takes a lot of time to make it brief.
Yes.
So that's what I would say. So resume is very, very important. Do not be complacent. So spend a lot of time. So if you want more and more opportunities come your way, you need to put that work also.
And now that the AI is there, the work has been shortened. Like, if you think about it, earlier people has to go through so many people, like ask them what to do, what to write in their resume, and how to approach the recruiter. So many things. Now that AI is there, they can simply ask that question to AI. That will reduce their time of asking someone else. Ask. AI to how to make my way in the company, or if they are really interested, AI will guide. There is they can do anything with the AI. That's what I'm saying. Obviously, the job market is very tough. They have to be ready for it. Their skills have to be on point, so they are ready for that company. Those things has to be there. But with AI, things has changed. It can be easy.
You,
It can be quick. Those can be happen.
the resume screening process is democratized. So what happens to your resume now? Okay, the 6 seconds rule or 7.4 second rule are no longer pertinent. Recruiter is going to feed your resumes in a tool of their choice, and they are going to get 5 or 10 shortlisted resumes. It may be recruiter, it may be hiring manager. Then they are going to look more carefully, because they have a lot more time on their hand. Previously, they used to spend a day or two just scanning the resumes and coming up with this 5 or 10 top resumes. Now that is done like that. They are going to use their free time in scrutinizing the resume more. As we discussed just now, they may look more carefully at your LinkedIn profile. Then they may use an AI tool or themselves to do a phone screen. At that point, depending upon the pool and depending upon the time that they want to invest, depending upon the market, if their market has a lot of talent or not, it always depends on that, right? Demand and supply. So if there are less number of people, they'll be very, very fast and try to get you hired. If there are more candidates, they may get greedy and they may pick more resumes. Because you see, the automation can be used to screen more resumes and to do an AI level interview. People are using more and more of these tools. So what you can do is, we discussed in length, make sure your resume has all the things that are required for you to get that interview, and you do not leave any stone unturned for getting that interview. That means using your connections, using your LinkedIn, whatever the tools that are at your disposal, use them to get that interview. Okay, resume is one part of it. Your enthusiasm to get that interview plays a vital role. When you are motivated, you are going to make your cover letter as interesting as your resume. Your resume is customized for every job, and you look at job description more carefully and only apply where you are suited. So these are things that you need to do. Again, things are going to change drastically, from we just talked 13 years. In big scheme of things, 13 years is nothing, right? So, but still lot changed in 13 years. Who knows what changes in next year? Yes. So be on top of it. Make your resume as interesting as you are. And then I do not see a reason why you will not get more and more interviews.
I also want to address this, that definitely job market has become very tough, and applying to jobs also has become very tough. There are so many things, and then eventually there can be a chance that they can ghost you, there can be a chance that they can reject you. So the process is tiring itself. It's not like you apply to two jobs with two resume and then you will think that, oh, okay, now I have to sit and relax, think nothing about it. It can be tough. Maybe we have to apply for 300, 400 jobs. And one thing that question again comes that, like, let's say if we are applying to 300, 400 jobs, we can't make 300, 400 resume. That can be very much like a too much work. It can be, but they make at least I what my suggestion would be, they list out some of their skills that is like that can be used for too many roles. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4 roles. These 5 skills can be applied to. With respect to that, those you make one resume, then make those kind of process again for different skills, and be ready with at least 10, 20 resume, then apply for these. That is how I think they will reach there, and then the ATS score checker will help in that process, and the tools will help in that process. And if they reach to the human recruiters, that is best. The best thing would be it reaches to a human recruiters and they see everything in that resume. That problem I wanted to address, because I have been seeing people are really struggling with this, making new resume for each job. So I just wanted to suggest a practical takeaway, that how they can practically use these tactics and make at least 10, 20 resume ready, and then go forward with.
To that point is number one, yes, sometimes you may have to apply 300 or 100 jobs over a period of time. You are not going to apply
6 months, 7 months, obviously it will
take. So then 6 months, resilience is the key here. So when one person is searching for a job for 6 months, the main quality that they need to have is resilience, right? As I said again, among 300 jobs, apply what is most suited for you. Number one, what I want us to remember is we are not applying for these 300 jobs in one day. So number two, customization does not mean that completely changing the resume. Customization means tweaking. So that tweaking can only happen when you properly go through the job description. Going through job description is very, very important. I believe whether we are applying for one job or 100 jobs, it is important we have to find time. That is, losing heart is quite possible, right? When we keep on applying and when we do not hear back, which happens more often than we want, but that's where your mettle, your persistence has to show up. You still should not stop customizing the resume, going through the process every time. Meaning, you see a job. This is what I suggest. You see a job. Number one, let's say there is an opening in Amazon. Do I know anyone in Amazon? Or do I know anyone who knows one in Amazon, right? Second degree or third degree connection. So you are trying to make a proper way for referral, right? So number two, job description. So hopefully you found that job already suited before you did your research on Amazon company. But if not, it is the time to see that, whether you have the, at least 50% matching skills or not. Sometimes 50% may not be enough, but sometimes it is enough, depending upon the market again. So that is number two. Number three, you have matching skills, fine, but keywords are matching or not, right? Sometimes, as I said, let's say, for example, they are looking for full stack developer and your resume says software development engineer. So they may get confused. It's okay, these are interchangeable. If you have done the full stack development as a software development engineer in your current company, it's okay to say full stack developer. It is a role that you are playing, right? So your software development engineer 3 does not make any sense on resume. So these are the minor tweaks that we are talking about, the customization. And if it does not match 50%, you may feel like you're losing an opportunity, but trust me, you're doing the right thing here. Because let's say you apply, you do not even hear back from them, it becomes a habit for you. You get used to getting rejected, and sometimes it could cause mental health issues. So if you are taking everything as a challenge, you're like you're always excited to apply for this job because you have certain checklist to fill. So that should make you motivated. Again, in one of my previous videos I said, so best thing to apply for the job is when you are comfortable in the current job. So comfort does not mean that your application should be complacent, right? Even if you are comfortable in current job, everything that you do, you must take it as a challenge. You should strive to get that job interview, because that is the goal. When you are submitting a resume, when you are applying for a job, goal is to get the interview. Just like in sales, when you are writing a sales email or when you are making a sales call, the objective is not sales but getting more conversations. That is the exact thing that you have to do when you are applying for a job.
Let's start on the questions we have got from Kudos All users. Okay, the first question is how to show a promotion in your resume.
Showing a promotion resume is very important. That shows your career growth in your current company. That will make them curious about your transition into different roles. Coming to the resume part, so you can do two ways. You can have the same company and list the two roles that you performed and what are the distinct responsibilities or accomplishments that you achieved in each role. That is one approach. The second one is you can have these two as different listings, like each experience could be different, but make sure that you tell that in the first bullet point that you are promoted from so and so position to so and so position. So if there is a special achievement like within 3 months or within 1 year, so if it is special or notable, which is going to generate curiosity in whoever is reviewing your resume, do mention that. So do mention two positions in different company. Do not just say whatever is your last position, because companies will be very, very curious to know your progression, especially if you stayed there longer. And if you are a high achieving person, showing a promotion in a relatively short time also will help you get that job interview.
Okay, so next question is how to message a recruiter.
So you message recruiter at various stages of your job application. For example, you want to send a cold email. That means here there is nothing that a recruiter posted, either a job or something else. Then you can approach them either on LinkedIn, or if you have access to their email, do send an email asking them if there are any positions suiting your experience. Keep it short, but make sure that your experience aligns with what they do as a company. You need to know that information before, because you can do a lot of research online these days. The recruiter posts on LinkedIn to the website of the company. So then keep it short and the reason why you are reaching, and do attach your resume and your LinkedIn profile so that they can check your LinkedIn, check your resume, and if they are interested, they can get back to you. The second stage is, let's say you applied for the job, you did not hear back after 1 or 2 weeks. These days with ATS and AI tools, if your resume is not picked, even rejection letters are received almost immediately, within an hour or so. If you did not receive such one, it is okay to communicate with them, wondering what happened to your job application. And in that one, do express your interest in the company, why you are interested in that company, and why you are the right candidate for that job. So when you provide that information in a concise manner, recruiter may get back to you. Third stage is you interviewed, and sometimes they may take time to get back to you. So soon after the interview, you do thank them for the opportunity for meeting them. That is the first email or note that you immediately send. Soon after the interview, thank the hiring managers, thank the recruiter, whoever is your contact person, send them the email thanking for the opportunity to meet them and knowing about their company. The next email, if you do not hear back from them after a week or so, you can send a follow-up asking about the next steps. Keep it concise. Contacting them should not be an obsession, and it should not become a source of spam email, right? So if they are not responding, we have to take that as a no. If we have any other resources, like an internal connection who referred you and all, try to know about your application status from them. So that is also another way to learn about your job application status. Again, do not spam, be polite. It is within a limit. It is your right to know about the status of your job application, especially in the second and third scenarios, not the cold email.
Okay. And third and last question is how to choose a company at senior level.
When it comes to changing jobs, it changes from person to person. It changes from situation to situation. One has to decide where they are in their life and then ask these three questions. Number one, are you looking for a title? For example, you are a manager, you want to be a director or vice president. So if title is important, then you have to compare apples to apples. A title in a smaller company may be higher, but it may pay less, it may have less responsibilities than what you are already doing at your current company. An exception to this is if you are joining a high growth company, even if it is smaller, you are getting more responsibilities, a challenging role and a better title, at least matching salary, or you have possibilities to gain otherwise. It could be stock options, it could be more salary in near future, then you should be okay seeking that opportunity. So be careful. Do not just fall for title. Number two, what is your current situation? So personally and professionally. So if you are up for more responsibilities and if your personal life allows you to take that, by all means you should pursue that. But you have a lot more going on, like taking care of someone at home or other responsibilities personally. Flexibility may play a role. To talk about my own experience in this, I got an opportunity when my son was very young, like 3-year-old, which was a better title, a growth company, and also 30% more salary. But what it lacked was flexibility. I have to be there at certain time and I have to be there until certain time, and there was no facility for working from home, which was very, very important for me at that point. So it was a hard decision, but a good decision. I do not regret even today for taking that, because flexibility was very, very important for me at that time. So you have to see if it applies to you or not, right? Sometimes you may be spending all time for work and that is okay. So number three is salary, right? If let's say sometimes you may be getting a better title, better company, but same salary. So you have to take a decision whether it is a good career move for you or not. There could be a lot of things at play, right? For example, you have to commute an hour and a half for your current job versus the same kind of position, same kind of company, same kind of title within 10-15 minutes of within 10 minutes of commute. Then perhaps it could play a role. There are a lot of things that can play a role whether you are applying for a senior position or a different position. But typically for senior positions, you always look for title. As I said in the first point, do not take the bait of title. Compare apples to apples and also consider the financial stability of the company when you are taking that. They may promise you a lot, but at the end, for whatever the reason, they may not be able to deliver. So consider all that, do research. So my approach always has been consulting with my well-wishers, my mentors, before making a decision like that. But applying itself is not a problem. If you like the responsibility, if you like the company, after research, do apply. And do strive to get that job interview, like we discussed in the 6-second rule, right? So you have to update your resume, you have to do everything in your power to land that interview and then the job. Because when you have an offer, you have an option to make a choice. You have a lot of options, you have a lot more power to negotiate or to not take that job. So do consider all this and do apply, So it does not hurt to apply, but do apply deliberately and make an informed decision.
Okay, Jag. So how should our listener be tying all this together?
So number one, you are a student. If you are looking for opportunities to study abroad. US is still a great place. So if you are H-1B or looking for a senior position, not just in the country of your residence but elsewhere, H-1B, if you get an opportunity and if someone is going to offer you a position with H-1B, you do not have to worry because they will be paying 100,000, not you. And it applies only for the new applications. If you are gainfully employed in USA, so you do not have to worry about either switching jobs or staying in the same job. So there is no extra fee. And if you are in the process of job application, whether you are in USA, India or elsewhere, do make sure that recruiter is impressed by your resume. After you pass through all the hurdles of AI or AI enabled ATS. So 6 seconds rules, 7.4 second rules or any other rule may not matter whole lot now, because day by day AI is increasing in capability. It can understand the your career gap, and if you express in your resume or cover letter about your career gap, it may even summarize for that recruiter. So generate curiosity in your resume and try to explain, like I think we said before in many of our material blogs and videos, if there is a gap for whatever reason, so do mention that gap also in your resume. So do not leave anything for the chance. Especially with the AI, your aim is to get shortlisted and get to that human reviewer. It could be recruiter, it could be hiring manager. In the end, if you want to get a H1 or after F1, your resume needs to reach ultimately to a recruiter or a hiring manager. So everything is tied together. And when you are applying for a promotion, mention why you are promoted, what you can bring to the table, and how you can be a valuable asset to your new employer in your cover letter, in your resume. Again, as I said before, it is not just AI, it is not just you. We have to use all the tools that are at our disposal to the best of our abilities so that we are getting further in our career and our lives. So use the tools wisely, seek help of your mentors and anyone that can help you to get further in your career. And if you have any questions, do mention in the comments. We also have a Google spreadsheet you can add there or in the comments. And if you have not subscribed to our channel, do subscribe to our channel